What if the monsters from bedtime stories actually walked among us? In shadows, behind legends, hidden in plain sight, some of them might have been real. By the end of this video, you'll discover 21 mythical creatures whose stories are rooted in surprising and sometimes terrifying real-world evidence. From ancient Egyptian icons to Japanese demons said to still walk among us. The first on our list is known as the Bloop. This name comes from a sound recorded back in 1997. To many, it seemed like a signal from an enormous sea creature lurking in the darkest depths of the ocean. The sound was so powerful, it was detected by sensors thousands of miles apart. At first, scientists could not explain it. It matched neither any known marine life nor man-made source. Few know the sound was recorded near the legendary site of R'lyeh, the sunken city linked to Cthulhu in Lovecraft stories. This coincidence stirred theories. Was the Bloop connected to something ancient and terrifying sleeping beneath the waves? Today, most researchers believe it was the noise of an ice quake, a glacier breaking apart underwater. Still, enthusiasts of the unknown disagree. They suggest it may have been the call of a creature beyond our imagination. Whether the Bloop came from a living being remains unsolved, but one thing is certain. The sound captured the world's imagination and reminded us how much of the ocean remains a mystery. If something unknown can hide in the deep, some sit in plain sight, stone-faced guardians hiding atop cathedrals, watching us from above. Have you ever looked up at an old cathedral and noticed those strange stone figures perched along the roof? Those eerie winged statues are called gargoyles, and their backstory is far more curious than most people realize. Gargoyles began appearing over 7 centuries ago in France. The earliest records date to the 13th century, when they were added to Gothic cathedrals, like the well-known Notre Dame in Paris. But the word gargoyle traces back to an even older tale, about a dragon named Gargoyle, said to have been defeated by Saint Romanus. At first, gargoyles had a practical use. They served as water spouts, channeling rain away from the sides of buildings. But that leads to the big question: why were they carved to look so frightening? Back in medieval times, many believed these fearsome statues acted as guardians. People thought they could ward off dark spirits and protect churches and nearby towns, but the legends didn't stop there. Some stories claimed that gargoyles didn't just sit still. They came to life after sunset. According to these tales, they would roam the streets at night, chasing away demons and keeping watch over the city. When the sun rose, they would return to their stone forms. So, could gargoyles be real? There's no evidence of statues turning into living creatures. Still, the idea behind them isn't so far-fetched. In the natural world, many animals act as protectors of their space. Owls, hawks, and other predators defend their territory, much like the gargoyles in old stories. Even today, cities place fake predator statues on rooftops to scare off pests like pigeons, just like gargoyles once did in the past. So, the next time you pass by an old church or cathedral, take a moment to glance upward. You might just feel like something is watching. And now, let's look at one of the most puzzling and feared creatures in recent folklore, the Chupacabra. The name means goat sucker, which fits its disturbing reputation. It's mostly known for targeting farm animals, especially goats, and leaving them completely drained of blood. The first known sighting happened in Puerto Rico in the year 1995. People began discovering livestock with puncture marks on their necks. No blood, no signs of struggle. The news spread fast, and soon similar reports appeared in Mexico and across the United States. So, what exactly does this creature look like? Descriptions vary widely. Some say it's no bigger than a medium-sized dog. Others insist it stands as tall as a human. Its skin is often said to be gray or covered in rough scales, with glowing red eyes and a row of sharp spines along its back. There are even accounts of it hopping like a kangaroo. A few people claim they've seen the Chupacabra themselves. In some cases, strange footprints, unlike those of any known animal, have turned up in remote areas. Farmers have reported hearing chilling sounds at night. Online, you can find blurry photos and shaky video clips that people claim show the creature, but whether any of them are real is still debated. So, is the Chupacabra just a legend? Many scientists think the explanation may be far more ordinary. In most cases, they believe the animal behind the attacks might actually be a coyote, suffering from a severe skin disease called mange. This condition causes hair loss, skin damage, and an overall appearance that could easily be mistaken for something more sinister. But even with that theory, people keep discovering strange strange remains and unexplained markings, and that's enough to keep the mystery alive. But not every legend stalks the night. Some, like the next one, rise from fire and return stronger than before. Have you ever heard the tale of a bird that never truly dies? Let me introduce you to the Phoenix, a legendary creature that doesn't meet death in the usual way, but instead is reborn from its own ashes. The earliest references to this bird go back over 4,500 years to ancient Egypt, where it was called Bennu. Over time, the Phoenix came to represent eternity and the cycle of renewal. According to myth, once every 5 centuries, it builds a nest, sets itself aflame, and from those ashes, a new phoenix emerges, reborn and even more powerful. Its tears are said to heal any wound, and its feathers are believed to offer long life. There have been rare accounts in history of sightings that people claimed resembled a flaming bird. Some travelers spoke of a brilliant red creature with golden wings flying overhead. In 1862, a report in the United States described a fiery bird spotted above the Arizona desert at sunset. In 2013, a viral photo made the rounds online, appearing to show a firebird gliding above the Brazilian rainforest. Later, it turned out to be a trick of the light, a visual illusion caused by the angle of the sun. These days, the Phoenix shows up everywhere, on crests, logos, and in countless forms of entertainment. You'll find it in films like Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and in myths passed down across many cultures. But is the Phoenix real? From a scientific standpoint, no. Still, as a symbol of rebirth and perseverance, it has lived on in stories and imaginations for thousands of years. Even if the Phoenix never flew through the skies, its story continues to lift us. But the next creature isn't here to inspire. It exists to challenge us with silence, riddles, and stone. Now let's turn to another legendary creature, the Sphinx. This figure isn't just a stone statue from Egypt or a name from old tales. The Sphinx is a mythical beast with deep roots in ancient legends, known for its riddles, its silence, and the challenges it represents. In Egypt, the Sphinx was carved in stone, shown as a lion with a human face. The most iconic is the Great Sphinx of Giza, built around 2,500 years before Christ. It was believed to stand guard over royal tombs, watching across the sands through the ages. But in ancient Greece, the image of the Sphinx shifted. There, it was imagined as a winged creature with the body of a lion or dog and the head of a woman. This version didn't just guard places, it tested those who passed, often with riddles that held life or death consequences. So, have there ever been real encounters with a Sphinx? Naturally, the creature itself is a myth, but its image is everywhere. Sculpted sphinxes can be found on bridges, at museum entrances, and along historic buildings. Online, you'll even come across photos or clips where people claim to have seen one move or breathe, but most of these are illusions, camera tricks, or just wishful thinking. Still, the idea of the Sphinx continues to hold power. It stands for secrets, puzzles, and the unknown. And if the Sphinx were to appear in today's world, maybe it wouldn't be guarding temples in the desert. Maybe it would perch high atop a skyscraper in a busy city, quietly observing the chaos of everyday life below. And not far from the realm of riddles are creatures far more fearsome, ones born to punish, not to puzzle. The next creature we'll explore is the Oni, one of the most iconic demons in Japanese folklore, known for their bright red or deep blue skin, sharp horns, and fierce expressions. Oni have long stood as symbols of fear, punishment, and the unknown. But what exactly are they? References to Oni go back to early Japanese records like the Nihon Shoki, written in the year 720, and the Kojiki from 712. In those early texts, Oni were described as spirits tied to the underworld, punishers of those who had done wrong. As time went on, their appearance shifted. They became larger-than-life monsters with a humanoid shape, not unlike the ogres found in Western tales. Within Japanese Buddhist teachings, Oni were often cast as guardians of hell, their job to carry out punishment on those who had committed serious sins. Even though Oni are mythological, stories of strange encounters have been passed down for generations. Some rural communities believed Oni lived deep in the forests or up in the mountains, stepping out after dark to scare those who wandered too far from home. Even today, traces of this belief remain. During the Setsubun festival, people still toss roasted soybeans and shout Oni wa Soto, which means demons out, to chase away harmful spirits. You can even find photos and tales online claiming to show Oni in modern settings, though most of these are either imaginative artwork or playful hoaxes. Nowadays, Oni appear everywhere, in comics, films, animated series, and video games. They've shown up in stories like Demon Slayer, Onimusha, Nioh, and in tattoo designs. Over the years, Oni have become more than just villains. In some stories, they represent not only punishment, but also strength, justice, and protection. But what if a creature didn't come to harm you, but to protect you, even while you sleep? If you've ever felt there's more to myths than fantasy, more to fear than fiction, consider sharing this with someone who still believes in monsters. Now, let's move on to a very different creature, the Baku, often called the Dream Eater of Japanese legend. Unlike most spirits or demons, the Baku isn't feared, it's welcomed. For centuries, people have believed it guards against nightmares, acting as a gentle protector during sleep. The earliest stories about Baku trace back to 14th century Japan. Its appearance varied from tale to tale. In some versions, the Baku had the head of an elephant, the paws of a tiger, the body of a bear, and the tail of an ox. Other descriptions made it seem more like a giant tapir with glowing yellow eyes and a presence that filled the room. Its size also changed with each telling, sometimes as small as a large dog, sometimes as massive as a shadow that could stretch across a person. There was a common belief that if you said aloud before falling asleep, "Baku, eat my dream," the creature would come and consume your nightmare, sparing you from restless sleep. But there was also a warning. If the Baku remained hungry, it might take away your peaceful dreams too, leaving you with nothing at all. Has anyone really seen a Baku? Of course, there's no proof that the creature exists in the physical world. Still, its presence is woven through Japanese culture. You'll find its image carved into wooden charms, drawn on ancient scrolls, and placed in temples as a sign of spiritual comfort. In modern times, Baku continues to appear in animated shows, children's books, and even toys designed to guard a child's dreams. Among all mythical creatures, Baku stands out. People don't fear it. They call on it for peace. And maybe that's the real power of myth. Not that these creatures walk among us, but that something in us still believes they might. Mythical creatures have always had a place in human imagination. Some are terrifying, some are awe-inspiring, but all of them invite us to ask the same question. What if there's a grain of truth behind the legend? If you liked this story, make sure to like and subscribe. The Gremlin. If your mind jumps straight to those mischievous movie monsters, you're not alone. But the origin of gremlins goes back long before cinema got hold of them. These strange little beings first entered popular imagination during World War II. At the time, British pilots in the Royal Air Force claimed that tiny saboteurs were tampering with their aircraft mid-flight, loosening screws, damaging equipment, even causing full-on malfunctions. Descriptions of these creatures vary, but they're typically said to be small, with green or grayish skin, oversized ears, and big bug-like eyes. Some compare them to insects, while others think they resemble odd mixtures of animal and human traits. What's especially strange is that similar stories came from airmen in completely different regions. One well-known account involved a pilot who experienced a full systems failure. Just before it happened, he said he caught sight of a little figure darting across his cockpit. There was never any evidence, of course, but the tale spread quickly, and gremlins became entrenched in military legend. Today, we mostly know them from films and graphic novels, but the idea of an unseen force that causes tech to break still feels a little too real sometimes. So, are gremlins real? Probably not. Most see them as a way to explain bizarre failures. Then again, maybe there's still one little mischief maker hiding on board every aircraft, from airborne mischief makers to something far bigger. The next creature on this list is among the strangest, Siren Head. He is unnaturally tall and thin, with a frame resembling a rotting tree, and where a head should be, there are two enormous sirens. Sometimes they look like old, corroded speakers. From them come unsettling noises, static, distorted voices, fragments of radio chatter or screams. These are often the final sounds his victims hear. Siren Head rose to fame after artist Trevor Henderson shared an illustration in 2018 that quickly went viral, yet the idea of a being that lures with sound is far older. Ancient stories spoke of spirits that copied familiar voices to draw travelers into the forest. Siren Head is the modern echo of those legends. Stories claim he can mimic any voice, the cry of a child, a call from a loved one, even the tone of emergency signals. It's as if he pulls sounds from the memories of those he hunts. Standing around 33 feet tall, he moves with unsettling speed and silence despite his size. What is most disturbing is that he has no face yet somehow sees, no ears yet hears all. Some think the sirens themselves act as his senses. Others believe his body is not flesh at all, but something metallic, or perhaps alien. Today, Siren Head has become a true urban legend. He features in games, short films, and countless scary stories passed around as if he were real. Does he exist in the physical world? Almost certainly not. Yet, in an age where sound itself can be deadly, the thought of Siren Head is more frightening than many real threats. From a nightmare that mimics sound, we move to a legend that soars through the sky. Few creatures inspire both awe and caution like this one. Number 3 on our list is a creature many of you will recognize, the Hippogriff. It blends the might of an eagle with the strength of a horse. The front half bears the head, wings, and talons of a massive bird, while the back half takes the form of a powerful steed. Though the Hippogriff appears majestic, it can be dangerous, especially when treated without respect. This legendary creature first emerged in European folklore during the Renaissance, with its earliest mention found in the poem Orlando Furioso. Legends say the Hippogriff was born from an impossible pairing of a griffin and a mare, making it a symbol of the magical and the unreachable. It was said to soar across oceans and travel faster than a storm. The Hippogriff is more than a mount. It is a proud and noble being whose trust must be won. An interesting detail: Hippogriffs never attack unprovoked, but approach without showing proper respect, and you risk a strike from its razor-sharp talons. These creatures can sense fear, and they require both courage and reverence from those who dare to face them. In today's culture, the Hippogriff became widely known thanks to the Harry Potter films. Many fans recall the moment Buckbeak carried Harry across the lake, a scene that brought this mythical beast vividly to life on screen. For countless viewers, it was their first glimpse of the Hippogriff in motion. Nature says it's impossible, but the Hippogriff was never meant to be real. It was meant to remind us that wonder often begins where logic ends. Which of these creatures has caught your imagination the most so far? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to see what you think. While the Hippogriff demands respect, the next being twists it into terror. It doesn't just change form, it hides in plain sight, wearing faces not its own. The 4th creature on our list is the Skinwalker, a figure from legend said to be a witch or shaman with the power to assume the shape of animals or even humans. Its true form remains hidden: shriveled skin, deformed limbs, and eyes that seem to hold only darkness. Skinwalkers are often described as twisted human shapes with vacant faces and strange, stilted movements. At times, they are seen as large beasts carrying unsettling traces of humanity. Their movements appear unnatural, as if controlled by something that is not of this world. Legends of the Skinwalker come from Navajo tradition. According to these stories, only those who committed terrible acts and violated sacred laws could transform into one, gaining powers that were never meant to be used. Most reports of Skinwalker encounters come from the deserts of Arizona, Utah, and New Mexico. Even now, many locals hesitate to travel alone through these areas at night. A striking detail is that the Navajo people often avoid speaking the word Skinwalker, believing that saying its name might draw the creature closer. Today, the Skinwalker has become a staple of online horror, appearing in creepypasta, scary games, and countless urban legends. Its image continues to change, yet the fear it inspires never fades. Does the Skinwalker truly exist? There is no evidence to say so, but in the vast deserts where myth and reality blur, you might wonder whose voice is calling out to you in the dark. If you've made it this far, brace yourself. The next ones are far worse. The next creature draped in both mist and mystery is Ogopogo, a legendary being said to dwell in the depths of Canada's Okanagan Lake. Descriptions portray it as a long, serpent-like creature with smooth, dark skin, a small, horse-shaped head, and a curving body that can stretch nearly 50 feet. The origins of this tale reach back to the beliefs of the Syilx people, who spoke of a lake spirit called Naha-Aitk. This spirit was said to demand offerings from travelers seeking safe passage across the waters. Over time, this story grew into the legend of a lake monster, later named Ogopogo. The first widely reported sighting occurred in the early 20th century. In 1926, several witnesses claimed to have seen something strange moving through the lake. Since then, countless reports have surfaced, along with blurry photographs, shaky videos, photos and whispered accounts. Ogopogo is often referred to as Canada's version of the Loch Ness Monster. In Kelowna, a playful statue of the creature stands as a tourist attraction, offering a lighter take on the legend. As for the truth behind the sightings, some believe Ogopogo might be an undiscovered fish species or an ancient creature hiding in the lake's depths. Scientists, on the other hand, suggest most sightings are likely waves, light reflections, or drifting logs. Does Ogopogo truly exist? No proof has been found, yet perhaps one day someone will record evidence that changes what we know. Yet what lurks in frozen lakes is nothing compared to what stalks winter forests. The next creature is born from hunger itself. Number 2 is the Wendigo, a creature said to be born not only from legend, but from the darkest corners of human nature. Fear, starvation, and loneliness. These are what sustain it. The Wendigo is described as a towering, skeletal figure, standing anywhere from 10 to 13 feet tall. Its body appears painfully stretched, with grayish-white skin pulled tightly over bones, and fingers that end in razor-like claws. Its eyes glow in the night, and its mouth gapes wide in endless hunger. Many depictions show it crowned with antlers or wearing the skull of a deer, emphasizing its primal and animalistic essence. This myth comes from the Algonquian-speaking tribes of North America. Their stories warn that those who turned to cannibalism during brutal winters would become Wendigos, spirits cursed with eternal hunger. Legends say the Wendigo stalks its victims slowly, first breaking their minds with terror, despair, and starvation. Only after this torment does it consume not only the body, but also the soul. Interestingly, during the 20th century, there were documented cases of what became known as Wendigo psychosis. In remote areas, some individuals believed they were transforming into Wendigos and pleaded to be stopped. These chilling accounts were recorded in parts of Canada. Today, the Wendigo has moved from the forests into popular culture, appearing in movies, games, and comic books. It is no longer just a creature of legend, but a symbol, one representing unchecked greed and the loss of self-control. Does the Wendigo exist in reality? Almost certainly not. Yet its image endures as a powerful reminder of what can happen when we surrender our humanity. You think the Wendigo's cold is unbearable? Wait until you face what stalks, where the world itself ends. The last creature on our list is the Ningen. It seems to exist solely to disturb the imagination. A huge, white figure with no face and long, eerie limbs. The Ningen feels like something born out of nightmares, lurking in the frozen emptiness of Antarctica. The first stories surfaced in Japan during the early 2000s, when fishermen claimed to see human-like shapes moving under the ice. Since then, the Ningen has spread across online forums and internet legends. Descriptions say it can reach lengths of nearly 100 feet, with a body shaped like a person, but lacking a mouth, eyes, or any expression. The legend began with articles in Japanese paranormal magazines, where research crews reported unsettling encounters. A single blurry photo was said to show the creature, igniting a flood of videos, theories, and hoax documentaries. What makes the Ningen so haunting is the absence of evidence. No remains, no DNA, no clear images. It is said to roam the icy waters of Antarctica, one of the least explored regions on Earth. Does the Ningen truly exist? Most likely not. Yet, as a myth, it spreads, lingers, and frightens, making it feel more real than you might expect. The Basilisk, often called the King of Serpents. According to old legends from the Middle Ages, this bizarre creature was said to come from an egg laid by a rooster and hatched by a toad. Strange, right? Imagine a cross between a serpent and a rooster, with the terrifying ability to set things ablaze or bring death just by looking at them. Descriptions of the basilisk vary. In some stories, it looked like a massive snake, similar to a cobra. In others, it had legs or even wings, almost like a small dragon. But its most feared trait? Its gaze. One look was enough to kill. But the creature had a weakness. Two, actually. One was its own reflection. If it happened to see itself in a mirror, that deadly look would turn back on it, causing it to die on the spot. The second was the crow of a rooster. For reasons unexplained, that sound alone was said to make the basilisk collapse and die instantly. The basilisk wasn't just part of scary bedtime stories. It became a powerful symbol. During medieval times, it appeared on shields and family emblems, often used to represent danger, power, or untouchable strength. And today, the legend still lives on. You'll find the basilisk in books, movies, and video games, continuing its role as one of the most legendary and feared creatures in myth. The next creature is one almost everyone has heard of, Godzilla, the towering monster from Japan and an enduring icon of modern culture. Unlike the others on this list, Godzilla is purely fictional, but its impact on culture is so vast it has become a legend in its own right. Godzilla is a massive reptilian beast, standing well over 300 feet tall, armored with thick scales, and known for unleashing a devastating radioactive breath. More than its fearsome appearance, Godzilla represents the overwhelming force of nature itself. This creature first appeared in the 1954 Japanese film Gojira. It was created as a symbol of the deep fear surrounding nuclear weapons in the wake of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Over time, Godzilla's role shifted from destroyer to protector, even a reluctant hero in many stories. Interestingly, in later films, Godzilla faces off against other legendary beasts, such as Mothra, King Ghidorah, and King Kong. While its look has evolved across decades, the jagged back and sweeping tail have remained unmistakable. Godzilla grew into far more than a movie monster. It became a cultural landmark. The character has appeared in political commentary, parodies, music videos, and countless advertisements. In Japan, statues stand in its honor, and its famous roar is so unique it has been trademarked. With more than 30 films, along with comics, games, and animated series, Godzilla holds a place as one of cinema's most recognizable figures. Though such a creature never walked the earth, Godzilla endures as a striking example of how fear can take shape and turn into legend. From a beast that rose from the sea of imagination, we move to one said to rise from the sea itself with a song too beautiful to resist. The next creature seems enchanting at first glance, but its origins are far more sinister. The mermaid, also known as the Siren. Most people picture the storybook version, a beautiful maiden with a fish's tail sitting on a rock and singing about love. Yet the earliest legends told a much darker story. In ancient seafaring lore, particularly within Norse and Celtic traditions, mermaids were feared beings. They lured sailors with voices so captivating that ships would drift off course, smashing against rocks, with entire crews vanishing without a trace. These dangerous figures were often called sirens. Descriptions from old tales speak of sharp teeth, pale skin, long claws, and eyes that glowed in the dark. Few realize that in early folklore, sirens were not even linked to the sea. They were half-woman, half-bird creatures. Over time, that image blended with stories of sea maidens, giving rise to the hybrid myth recognized today. Modern culture has softened this terrifying image. Consider Disney's The Little Mermaid, a far cry from the deadly sirens of old. Still, some recent films have returned to the original menace, such as the horror film The Siren, 2016, and the unsettling The Lighthouse, 2019. Do mermaids truly exist? Science says no. Yet sailor accounts, unexplained disappearances, and strange footage from the depths keep the legend alive. Not all legends dwell in the ocean. Some walk among us during the coldest nights, carrying chains and a name whispered to frighten children. Number 4 on our list is Krampus. While children in alpine villages look forward to gifts from St. Nicholas, there is also a darker figure spoken of in hushed tones, the horned demon who appears at Christmas to punish the misbehaving. Krampus is described as a terrifying blend of satyr and wild beast, cloaked in thick fur, with twisted horns and chains and bells rattling with every movement. In one hand, he wields birch branches to strike those who have been bad, and in the other, he carries a sack or basket to haul them away into the woods, or perhaps to an even worse fate. Krampus serves as the shadowed counterpart to Santa Claus. His legend comes from Austrian, German, and other alpine traditions, tracing back to pre-Christian times. In the 1950s, Austria even attempted to outlaw the Krampus figure, fearing he would traumatize children. Despite these efforts, the story endured. Today, Krampus celebrations are common across parts of Europe, with parades where costumed figures stalk the streets, terrifying onlookers. In 2015, the creature even took center stage in a horror film that bears his name. Is there any truth to the Krampus myth? There is no proof he exists, yet the legend still chills hearts, especially on the darkest nights of winter. While one terror lurks in snowy villages, another roams the dense forests, leaving behind only fleeting footprints and endless questions. Next comes Bigfoot, one of the most famous legendary creatures in North America. Bigfoot is described as a towering, hairy, ape-like figure, standing standing over 7 feet tall. His appearance is often said to fall somewhere between an ancient primate and a creature of the wilderness. Over the years, hundreds have claimed to see him, yet the evidence usually consists of blurry photographs, shaky videos, and oversized footprints. The most well-known evidence is the 1967 Patterson-Gimlin film, which captured a large figure striding into the woods, turning its head briefly toward the camera. That short piece of footage became legendary. Eyewitnesses have added their own stories. "I was driving down a forest road when I saw him. A tall, long-armed figure stepped across the path. He didn't run, he just stopped and looked at me." Some researchers suggest the Bigfoot legend might have roots in Gigantopithecus, a giant ape species that once roamed parts of Asia. Bigfoot is often compared to the Yeti or abominable snowman, but the two are different. Bigfoot is said to dwell in the forests of North America, while the Yeti is linked to the icy Himalayan mountains. Bigfoot is typically described as having dark fur, while the Yeti is portrayed with white. Is Bigfoot real? Science has found no concrete proof, yet the story endures, fueling curiosity and reminding us that the natural world may still hold secrets. Some legends speak of creatures born of nature. Others tell of beings shaped by human hands, built to protect but capable of much more. The next creature is among the most enigmatic. The Golem, a towering figure shaped not by birth but by human hands. According to legend, the Golem is formed from clay and brought to life through mystical rites. It follows only the commands of its maker, carrying out any task until, at times, it becomes too powerful to control. Descriptions portray it as a massive humanoid of Earth, with rough features and a vacant, unfeeling gaze. Some stories claim it can grow to twice, even 3 times, the height of an ordinary person. The tale of the Golem comes from Jewish folklore. The most famous account tells of a 16th century rabbi in Prague who crafted a golem to defend the Jewish community from harm. To animate the creature, he inscribed the Hebrew word emet, meaning truth, on its forehead. To deactivate it, he erased the first letter, leaving met, meaning death. The golem's influence continues in modern culture. In the game Minecraft, the Iron Golem guards villages, introducing this ancient myth to new generations. Does a golem exist outside of stories? There is no evidence, and many see it as a symbol, a warning of how strength and knowledge, if misused, can become dangerous. If a golem exists at all, perhaps it dwells not in some hidden cellar, but within the human imagination. A creature molded from Earth is one thing, but what about a beast stitched together by nature's own chaos? Part lion, part serpent, part nightmare. The final creature in this video is the Chimera. In ancient Greek mythology, she was described as having the body of a lion, a goat's head rising from her back, and a serpent for a tail. To make her even more fearsome, she could breathe fire, an unnatural and terrifying combination. The Chimera was said to be the child of Typhon and Echidna, 2 of the most dangerous figures in Greek legend. She ravaged the region of Lycia until the hero Bellerophon, mounted on the winged horse Pegasus, brought her down. Few realize that the term chimera still appears in modern science. It is used to describe organisms that carry genetic material from different species. For instance, a mouse with human brain cells is technically a chimera, though a far more scientific version than the beast of myth. Today, the chimera appears in video games, novels, and anime, often representing fear, hybridity, and untamed power. Perhaps she is more than a monster. Perhaps she embodies the things we cannot fully understand or control. Does the Chimera exist? No, but her image continues to inspire creators and unsettle imaginations with its chaos. Which of these legendary creatures do you believe might still have a trace of reality? Share your thoughts below, and if this exploration triggered your curiosity, subscribe to uncover more real-life mysteries hidden in legend.